Hey YouTube, MVPs, Patreon, everybody. Rico Knows here. Going to talk to you guys about UFC Fight Night Las Vegas 102. Okay, Jared Cannonier versus RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez. But before I get into that, we'll do some quick recap real quick. If you go to Patreon, you get the app, download it, or go to the website. I don't care what you do. Search Rico Knows. Become a member. This is what everybody's doing. This is how they're winning all their money, all right? Shout out to the MVPs. We've been dominating. If I can pull up our fight cards, this was 2 weeks ago when I told you Amavov, Michael Page. I told you all these guys were winning. It's amazing stuff. We hit, 5 out of 6 parlays that night, and we thought, man, it just doesn't get any better than this. Now it does. We've gotten a perfect fight card before. We've hit a number of parlays and props and locks and all that shit. Obviously, we've been picking fights for a couple years now. Shout out to me and our over 5,000 members on Patreon. We do have members on YouTube as well. This is what I do, y'all. I pick fights, I break them down. But last week was special, man. Last week was special. Went 5-0 on locks, predicting Dricus du Plessis by points. Zhang Weili's winning as an underdog, which is insane. Give me those over rounds. Jake Matthews by points, it going the distance. I didn't believe in Prado like that. Gabriel Santos was one of our locks that we had on most of our parlays. But going 7-2 on parlays is a big deal. As a matter of fact, going 12-3 on parlays over the last 2 weeks is a very big deal. Now, consistently, there'll be some people out there like haters being like, oh, what do you pick consistently on this? Dude, the locks on a 500 fight sample are over 83%. The leans are over 66. We're even up 2% more this year. We're just going to be dominating. But yes, even when picking underdogs, currently my money line value bets are at 53%, which is insane because every underdog is plus money. So every one of those hits is plus money. And that includes picking things like Barcelos to beat Talbot, plus money. Merab to beat Umar Nurmagomedov, plus money. Yes, I'm picking undefeated fighters to lose all the time. So when you see last week and I went and picked Rong Zhu to beat Cody Still, and I explain to you why, and I break it down, man, it's amazing. So you got to just enjoy the ride. Trust the numbers, trust the stats, trust the analysis. It's what I do. Now, how many units are you up? What's your ROI? That's your business. You bet whatever you feel comfortable. I just sit here and break down fighters. That's what I do. All right, so let's get into this fight card and let's start talking about it. First thing you always have to do, go to Tapology, scroll all the way down. You'll see all the matchups. You'll see all this stuff, but scroll to the bottom. And when you get to the bottom, you will see fights canceled. Canceled. Very important to know which fighters are coming in on short notice, who is actually canceled. So we see some fights that were people withdrew. They're no longer fighting. Rodolfo's got a different opponent. Gabriel Bonfim's got a different opponent. Jared Gordon, different opponent. And that's pretty much it. And then we get to the first fight of the night. Julia Avila versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. And I'm going to pick a different, graphic for you guys to see this matchup here. And we'll start talking about Jacqueline Cavalcanti first. We've seen her a lot in the last 2 years. Now, this is a young lady born in Brazil. Obviously, they speak Portuguese in Brazil, if you didn't know. And but now she fights out of Portugal. And she's 8-1. They say 3 knockouts, but she has been a decision merchant as of late. And when you look at this is very concerning to me. Number one, you are an amazing fighter. Like, skills-wise, she looks very good. But it's counter-striking is what she does. And it's not very impressive to some judges because you're not leading the dance. You're not going around backing down your opponent like, quote-unquote, octagon control. You're just patient, athletic, and yes, she uses her length really well. She maintains spacing when striking, but she's a counter-striker. Not a bad fighter, though. Very good. To see her beat Noah Cornhole last time we saw her was impressive. Beating the little midget, right? Nunez here. Jacqueline Nunes, that girl's got just one punch. One punch. No combos. Just an overhand right and hoping it happens. But even against substandard fighters, even against fighters that she can dominate, she still only wins by split decision. These last 2 wins are split decision, and she's got a number next to her name. And a lot of this has to do with the bantamweight division. I apologize. I'm trying to find it where they have the numbers here. She's number 11 against number 16. But this is how bad women's bantamweight is. There is nobody competitive in this division where you can just get 2 split decision victories, not even look dominant, if you will, and you're ranked, and you're a minus 420 favorite over an underdog like Julia Avila at plus 310. It's just crazy. Okay, it's not crazy. It's just, I know a lot of you MVPs out there. Shout out to my members. I know you guys well. I know a lot of you don't bet on women's fights. You don't bet on Asian fighters. By the way, we hit the all Asian parlay last week for plus 1,000. You don't bet on UFC debuts. I know all of you guys have these unwritten rules or written rules, whatever it is. You guys have all these ways of conducting yourselves as gamblers. And I'm going to tell you that this one doesn't pass the common sense test, that you're going to bet on a minus 420 or even higher favorite that's what it opened at. I believe it's almost 600 if I go to FanDuel right now. Let me see what it is. It's currently 590. You're betting on a girl who's a minus 590 who is going to rely on the judges. And we've seen judges rob you. She's only won by split decision here and there. And here she is fighting Julia Avila. And let me explain to you who Julia Avila is and the way she gets down. So Julia Avila is 36 years old. Do not ignore that. She is old as hell. She doesn't really fight out of Oklahoma Martial Arts Academy. That is her team, if you will. But she fights out of a local gym a lot closer to home. She actually goes over there to train just a little bit. She fights. Her trainer and her coach is her husband with some other guy. And it's just, she's an old school type of fighter. And rightfully so. She's 36. She fights, it reminds me of the time frame of like Tito Ortiz and Nate Diaz and these guys who have one skill set and they're not quite as dynamic as an athlete and things of that nature, right? Like you could be a woman fighter and you could just show up and win by arm bars all day. And they'll call you the GOAT until you find somebody else who looks at you and goes, okay, well, we're not going to let you armbar me. Just punch you in the face. And that's the evolution of women's MMA, where the women weren't very good initially. You could be a GOAT with one move. And over time, they've gotten better. And Julia Avila is not a good fighter. Like, aesthetically not a good fighter. Now, bro, I'm telling you right now, if you're at the bar and you're about to get in a fight, and the only person you know in that bar is your girl, you want Julia Avila to have you back. She's going to scrap. And she's going to look like a dude doing it. The problem she has is she does not protect her jawline. Her hands are not she's not a very defensively responsible fighter, which leads to her just getting hit. She's going to wear damage. And she's going to get hit. And this girl, Cavalcanti, is going to be touching her up in a horrific way. Okay, that's number one. Now you start looking at these fights. She fights, and I told you, she comes to brawl. So if you looked at her fighting on the regional scene, had one loss by TKO, and then she just showed up, and the thing she did to Panny was embarrassing. She beat Panny. The real one is this Gina Mazzani girl. That's when everybody gave her the hype, because she put Mazzani out in the first round. But even that fight, you can YouTube it right now. She goes out there, she's very hittable. Mazzani's taking it to her, and then there's just like a turn where Mazzani acts like a girl after getting hit because Julia hits pretty hard. Julia hits hard, and it's annoying, and she wins that fight. Then you see her lose to Eubanks, which is a bad loss. Bad loss. Beats the hell out of Staralenko. Beats her up, out-grapples her, and for Julia Avila, who they say is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, I've seen people control her for extended periods of time. And Miesha Tate absolutely just ragdolled her on the mat and controlled her for over 10 minutes. There's some joke, or there's some claim by Julia. She says, Miesha said that that exchange in the second round we had, it was the most damage she'd ever taken. Then she took more damage from me in that second round than she did Holly Holm in 5 rounds. Like, bro, I don't give a shit what you're saying. What happened to you with Miesha Tate, and that's your last fight over a year ago, was embarrassing. Okay, it really was, because Miesha Tate has fallen off a damn cliff as far as losing it, right? You get past your prime and you start going on down that cliff, there's diminishing returns. At some point, you just don't have it anymore. And Miesha Tate doesn't have it anymore. She's still a beautiful woman. Shout out to Miesha. What's up, girl? Let me know. But I'm just letting you guys know that it's been a year. Now, why does she have these long layoffs? Well, in 2021, she was coming off of the birth of her child. Okay, her child was 2 years, or her child's now 2 years old or something like that. She's coming off the birth of her child. Then she had a torn ACL, and she claims that's why she couldn't grapple against Miesha Tate. She was trying to get back up to her feet, but her knee popped in and out of place. So she had a bunch of surgeries and all this stuff. And I'm looking at her, and I got to tell you guys, first thing I thought was, she got that dog in her, man. There's no way she should be a plus 390 underdog. There's just no way. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to tell the MVPs, take her. Take her as a value bet. Now, when I say take her as a value bet, I'm not saying pay a unit or anything of that nature. I'm just letting you know that she shouldn't be this big of an underdog because she can scrap. But if you're telling me she has an advantage in the grappling department, which she probably does, I don't know. I don't know how we get there. Is she like going to go up and get a clinch, 50-50? Get a body lock, take her down, and be in a dominant body position for the whole round? It's possible, but I watched her get reversed while in the mount by Staralenko here. She's in the mount, and Staralenko just rolls her and sweeps her, which is impossible. Staralenko didn't trimp to guard, nothing. Just rolled her over with momentum because she has a terrible base. Terrible base. I don't think she trains really hard at everything. I think she's just tough. And tough doesn't win you fights. Now, let me say something. I wanted to make sure I was looking at Julia Avila recently. So I started searching for her on YouTube, and I found this interview where she looks like fucking housewife, bro. She looks like a housewife. She starts talking about all this stuff. And at one point during this interview, somewhere back here, she
if you're insured by
excuse me, I do not want to play that commercial. But at some point during the interview, she talks about how this fight is a really good test for her body. She's trying to test where she's at right now. Say what? Yeah, I'm just trying to see where I'm at. Oh, by the way, the weight cut to 135 is really hard. I'd love to be at like 145 in jiu-jitsu competitions. I think that would be less wear and tear on my body, and I've never really done that consistently. I want to start competing in jiu-jitsu competitions. Bro, mentally, just hearing that. You're testing your body. You're thinking about not fighting in the UFC anymore. No more MMA fights. Oh, you don't want this shit, bro. You ain't about this. Now, she said, I hope I win by knockout. What? What are you talking about? Where you come from, bro? So, can't back her. Not in a million years. But I also can't irresponsibly tell you guys this is a lock that Cavalcanti's going to win this fight. It's not a lock. She should win by points. She should. And then let me show you guys what the chart looks like, just so we're clear. As of right now, obviously, you guys know the deal. I make a video for every single fight. If you're an MVP and you hit join on the channel here, either here on YouTube or on Patreon, you'll be able to see all the other videos that I'm going to break down for every single one of these fighters. And what I can tell you is, I think it's going to go the distance and Cavalcanti by points. Now, the color scheme is pretty simple. If it's in green, it's a lock. If it's in black, it's a lean. And if it's in purple, it's a value bet. So I'm giving you the purple. I'm telling you, yes, Julia Avila has a puncher's chance to win the fight. I don't think she's going to have the output. I don't think she's going to be busy enough. I don't think she's athletic enough. But there is a chance she could get a takedown and win the round. And the minute that happens twice, you've lost your ass. What if she's heavy enough and can keep Cavalcanti on the ground, on the mat? Then she just won 2 rounds. You lost your money. So, and it ruins your whole parlay. And I know a lot of you guys want to parlay some of these chalks and go 650, 425 till you get to plus 100. I know it's going to happen. Somebody's going to go out there and 4-leg this 650, 425, 350, 475. I know you guys are going to do that. And shout out to the MVPs who the terrible gamblers are. But for me, I can't make it green because I don't want you to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and make it purple and say Avila. But I really think you need to keep an eye on the sports book. It's not currently there on FanDuel today. Today's Wednesday, right? These fights are Saturday. So Cavalcanti by points makes sense. But it's going to be a sweat. Theoretically, because you're relying on judges for your payout. Avoid women fights, fade it if you want, or go for it, bro. I don't really care what you do. I'm just breaking it down and letting you know. But it looks like Avila doesn't have the right mindset to be competitive with somebody like Cavalcanti who wants to be a champion. You can tell Cavalcanti wants to move up, man. She wants to move up, get ranked higher. She wants to be a top 5 fighter, maybe fight on the main card someday. You could just see the athleticism, though. This is a real athlete. And this is an upset soccer mom. And yeah, she'll knock your block off. She does punch hard, guys. Don't let me sell it short. She punches hard. She throws them things. But she looks like a girl who's going to be frustrated because Cavalcanti's got great footwork and is going to move out of the way. How attractive is that to judges? Not very. That's why she keeps getting split decision wins, right? So Julia Avila has a chance to ruin your whole night if you go and make this a lock. I'm just letting you know. I do think Cavalcanti wins. I think Cavalcanti by points. Let's just say it's a minus 200. Let's just say it's a minus 200 Cavalcanti by points. What's it hurt to put 0.5 a unit on that or $20 on that? Doesn't hurt anything. A win's a win. Make some money. You know, I saw somebody laughing because a guy bet $20 to win 26. Sounds pretty crazy. But he knew he was going to win 6. So he made $6 watching that fight, and you laughed at him the whole time. I know the guy laughing doesn't make money doing this. I know we do. I'm not worried about ROI. Bet your units the way you want to bet them. I'm just letting you know Cavalcanti is a great striker, very athletic, aesthetically beautiful, but judges, they have no choice but to give Avila the round if she gets a takedown and stays on top. And she will clinch and trip and do things like this. But Avila closes distance by brawling like a man who has no fight ability. That's what she looks like. A dude who has no fight ability. Not IQ, ability. Julia Avila just looks like an old school brawler. Chin exposed. Just weird. So, yeah, I like it to go the distance. I don't think anybody's strong enough to hurt each other in this fight. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Remember, I'm breaking down every single fight on this fight card. Become a member, you'll see the rest. Peace.